We're surrounded by fairies. Ah!
Voice hated fairies defy logic. How can something be so tiny and have magic powers?
I was thinking of the other fairy.
That's racist.
Hello, everybody. My name is Burden, and alongside me is Saris, and today we are going to be talking about the warrior changes that came in October 15th. This is our last class, actually. After this, we will be done. But there are also more patch changes coming December 10th, which will cover all the classes when that comes out as well. There
Can,
has been.
think,
Hmm?
I think we could do also one with a bit of speculation on that too. Just beforehand, just
Sure.
to speculate on the effects of it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, reading through those notes, there are some really good things in there. Actually, some really good things. There's some juicy things. Some builds getting nerfed and things like that. Some pretty popular builds getting nerfed.
It's a very strong patch. That's kind of, watch out for that one, guys. We'll put that out in a couple of days.
We'll have to see how the player base actually responds to that when they do it. I think you're gonna see a lot of QQing on the forums for a little while after that one. I mean, I guess you already see it for the people who looked at the data mines patch notes already. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now the warrior, compared to the other classes, didn't receive a whole lot of changes. There's quite a few fixes with some of the traits, and some traits were moved. Though I think the warrior overall is at a really good place right now. Might not be as in as good of a place to come December 10th, but right now, I mean, it's in a pretty good place. Oh, condition damage is pretty crazy. It has great control. It's been pretty much any build. If you want to go power, you want to go condition, or you want to go control, there's viable warrior build for all of those.
It's very flexible right now.
Yeah,
which is
it's very
great.
flexible. Okay, so let's just do a quick overview of the changes. We could talk about some of our more favorite changes in this patch. Now, they fixed sharpened axes. You're actually getting the adrenaline gain on critical hits now. I guess before you actually weren't. That's not something I ever really noticed. But I usually never run axes. Battle standard skill no longer applies boons until the end of the cast to prevent unintended behavior when canceling it. Now this is a cool one. The mobile strikes trait, where it removes immobilize when you use movement skills, is actually applies to elementalist conjured weapons as well now, which is, I mean, I guess that's the way it should be, but it's pretty awesome that they're putting that in there. So it gives you some more kind of cross profession, not really combos, but just professions working and synergizing well together.
Works with the rampage now too. Not that anyone uses it though.
No.
Oh god.
Yeah, oh man, it does. I didn't even see it.
It's just something that is not even used, it's just like whatever. Rampage. Lols.
Well, I think when I saw the word rampage, I just kind of censored it out of my head. I didn't even pay attention to it. I was just looking at the conjured weapons. One of the big changes, I guess you could say, is that reckless dodge. They increased the radius to 180, so it's a lot bigger now, and you could hit 5 people instead of 3. And I think reckless dodge was something you never really cared about before. It was just kind of something that happened, but now that they increased the size and they increased the number of targets, it's something you can aim for that extra damage. And you actually said that you think you will be seeing another buff to that recently. Did you not?
I think aren't they improving the damage on
Is that the
next
December
patch?
one?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but it would be good. I think I really like those dodge mechanics, like especially with the Elementalist as the evasive arcana. Whenever you have you could tie in the mechanics of the combat into the dodge, which is something also somewhat unique to Guild Wars 2. It could be a lot of fun. Vigorous shouts. This is a big one. This is probably the biggest change in all of the warrior changes. They increased the base healing on your shouts to 25%, and your healing power now scales with it from 80% to 90%, so they buffed that up a bit. So it's gonna work better with healing power now, which I think is pretty cool. Serious, why don't you explain it a little more? Because I've never run a shout warrior. So how do you think the shouts are the change to vigorous shouts is actually gonna affect? And you could also talk about the I think the traits being moved around, how that's gonna affect shout warriors now.
It affects it for the better, pretty much. The even if you don't run healing power, your base heal is going to be going up by a huge amount. And if you start running the cleric scare as well, then you'll have not only will you have an extra shout on top of it, you'll have better scaling from the healing power to the shouts as well. So you can have up to like 4 shouts at once going. One triggered from your traits, which is the Shake It Off, which you can now take at the same time as lung capacity, which is awesome. It means that you've got mad healing now. You don't have to choose between having the traded Shake It Off and or lung capacity. You can get them both now, which is fantastic.
I guess we could put in a question of the day here for the Guild Wars 2 Daily. If you do run a Shout Warrior build, are you excited about the changes? And have you actually seen a difference in your build? Has it been any more powerful than it used to be? If you guys run a Shout Warrior build, let us know in the comments below. Okay, they fixed up some animations. This is actually one of my favorite, even though it's not a big change. I love the whole I don't like when skills root you to the ground, especially in Guild Wars 2. I mean, the only time skills should root you to the ground is if they're huge damaging skills, I think. But overall, I think animations just shouldn't root you because the combat's so active that it really puts you at a disadvantage when you're rooted. Like, the biggest example is the Ranger's main hand, the main hand sword, where pretty much through the whole combo you're rooted, and that people complain about that all the time on the forums, and I'm sure we'll see a fix to that in the future because that's no good. So actually, you could use Staggering Blow, the number 4 on your hammer. You could actually use that while you're moving now. And I think on our channel we still have the crowd control build that I used to use in SPVP and some tournaments and things like that. And one of the more annoying things one of the things that annoyed me most with using the hammer is that if you use the Staggering Blow and you forget that you have to stay still and you start moving, you'll actually cancel the animation and the whole skill will actually be cancelled, which I don't think is cool at all. So now you can actually move while you're using it, which I think is awesome. It's one of my favorite changes, actually. And they also fixed up the animation with Final Thrust, so it's just more clear. The animation is more clear as well. I think maybe another change. I'm not sure how it's gonna affect it in different aspects of the game. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit, Serious. But with Vengeance, whenever you popped Vengeance, you would always be invulnerable for 5 seconds before you can be targeted with any crowd control or any sort of damaging spells. But now actually you get the same amount of invulnerability you get as if you came up from being rallied, which is only 1 second. So now I know in PvP, if a warrior pops Vengeance, you can pretty much crowd control them right away and then kind of run away so you don't get caught if both of you are really low. So I can see that affecting people in PvP. Well, what do you think about in PvE or other aspects of the game? Do you think it's going to have a big impact at all?
No, not might be fine.
You think that was mostly designed for PvP, that change? Or
Yeah.
just to be consistent with the game, I guess.
Most of the time in PvE, if you were gonna die, you were gonna die anyway.
There definitely are times you can get someone down, especially if you just get up from Vengeance and someone goes down and you're still invulnerable. They can't crowd control you with their down skills, and then you can just stomp them, which is a bit unfair. So I can see definitely that it was intended for PvP. Is there anything else about the warrior changes that caught your eye, Cyrus?
No, it's actually that's pretty much it. They weren't the biggest changes inside the patch of because it was mainly just a support based one, and aside from banners and shouts, you don't really have other options for support as a warrior. So the warrior wasn't too affected by the patch, but the next patch is going to be the heavy hitter. In patch notes, you're going to see a lot of stuff.
Okay, so I think we will start planning for some videos speculating on the December 10th changes and how they'll actually affect the game overall, and more opening up more viable builds and things like that. Let us know what you think about the changes below. If there's something that you really like or something you don't like, and just let us know in the comments below.
Comment, like, favorite, sub. Goodbye.